go. Gosh, it's difficult when you're trying to do everything yourself. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday webinar Q&A. It's been a while. I must admit, I do try and do these every month. The last one that I did was on Afrikaans and how to help your children with Afrikaans at home. And I also gave out a resource at the end that parents could request, just to give you a little bit of guidelines in terms of, what you can do at home to encourage more Afrikaans exposure, and I suppose what the curriculum requires our children to be able to do in the different phases, foundation phase, and then obviously the intermediate phase, and then moving into high school. So that was my last one, was the Afrikaans one. And I thought my theme for August was on the myth of laziness or executive functions. And so I thought only a good idea to do a Q&A at the end of the month. Those of you who do get emails from me, and I hope that you've been finding them valuable, you should get one from Education Services every month. Oh, sorry, not every month, every week. And like I said, in August, we've been talking about executive functions and laziness and how to help your children with homework assignments, preparing for tests and exams, being a bit more organized. All of that came through the month of August. So yes, I think if you have found those helpful, it would be nice to hear from you if there are other ways that I can assist and send you little tips and strategies as parents on how to be more, I suppose, not proactive, because I know you are very proactive, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this webinar. But I suppose just to guide you in terms of, how to support your children at home. So yeah, like I said, it's Wednesday. What a day we've had today. The weather has been incredible, and I think it probably means that there's some rain on its way, which we desperately need here in Rebecca. So I'm hoping that we get a bit of rain, and hope you had a good day and that you managed to stay cool. So tonight is all about Q&A. So please feel free to send through a comment. This is going out live on my Facebook page and on YouTube. So I'm able to see your comments as they come up. You are also more than welcome to possibly WhatsApp me if you like. If you don't want to have your comment on the screen, you're welcome to WhatsApp me as well. You've all got my WhatsApp number, and I have my phone right here. So I can read a WhatsApp as it comes through, and we can then answer your queries or your questions. So yeah, I think executive function and talking about organizational skills and our children, and we're trying to juggle so many balls, even ourselves, as adults. We have thousands and hundreds of balls up in the air, and we're trying to keep them all going, and we know how difficult it is to keep on top of everything. And our kids are really no different. Even though they're not having to worry about paying bills and all those kind of things, they also have responsibilities and a job to do at school. And often, they become overwhelmed as well. They become, quite, I suppose, stressed. And we're trying to help our children. We're trying to keep them going. And we're getting teachers complaining that work just isn't being handed in, or work is being handed in late and it's not being done properly. It's not of a great quality, and we don't always know how to help and how to assist. And I've been there. I've been that parent. In my position, I'm sharing your pain as a parent, having gone through the schooling system with both my boys. Luckily, they've both moved on now. But I'm hearing teachers complaining. I've been in many, many meetings and case conferences, and I hear teachers what they're complaining about in terms of the kids and the, I suppose, the issues that the children are having when they struggle with the executive functions. And I'm also hearing parents complaining about, kids leaving things till the last minute, and it's Sunday night and they're rushing off trying to get cardboard, and they're trying to do projects at the last minute because now something's due on the Monday, and it's just a never-ending spiral. So I'm going to share my screen as we go through this topic, which really it's I do call laziness a myth, and like I said, it is based on 30 years of research. I have been in the classroom, I have been that teacher, I have um, you know spoken to kids and said, why haven't you done your homework, or why is your homework late, and you knew about this before. You can't come and say you haven't done it, or you've lost it, or you didn't know what was needed, because you got all the information. So these are the complaints, that teachers are saying, and what parents are saying. Why are you so lazy? Why haven't you done XYZ? When will you do XYZ? And even at work, there's a production line. There's always, we're either waiting for something to come in, or we're needing to send something out, and we're waiting for the next step. The person that we're needing to send the work to be ready to receive the work. There's a production line. There's never just you yourself and doing things by yourself. There's always people that are going to send you information or something, and then you're going to send it on to the next person, and then they're going to do something with it. And exactly the same with kids. They're always getting assignments, they're always getting tests and assessments, and they're always being required to produce something. There's always that expectation that they are going to do something that is going to be graded, and they are then going to have a result and a comment, and there's going to be a progress, or there's going to be progress in that particular subject area, and which is what the report is. The school report, as a parent, you get the school report, and it gives you the subject areas. It gives them a result, which is either a 1 out of a 7 or a 1 out of a 4, and then there's a comment there. And often, for me as an education consultant, the comment from the teacher to me is more important than the mark or the results out of 4 out of 7, because that comment says a lot. And often there's a comment like, so and so needs to do better. So and so hasn't put in enough, or hasn't prepared enough, or can do better. There's always that comment, and I often think to myself, based on what is that comment coming from? So how do you know that the child is capable of more? How do you know that they haven't prepared enough? Maybe there are other reasons why. And so I guess there's always that opportunity to go deep dive into why are we hearing these things? Why are you so lazy? Why haven't you done? Why haven't you? When will you? Etc. etc. So that is really my what I love to do in terms of problem solving, is try and understand a child's learning profile. I want to understand their executive functioning. I want to really go and look at how they approach a task or an activity or an assessment or a test. So we're going to go into those a little bit more. Well, briefly, this isn't a full 1 hour webinar. This is a 30-minute Q&A. And I'm going to just see, before I go on to the next step, if there is a comment coming through, because really this is your opportunity to fire questions at me. And if I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know, and I'll go and find out and I'll let you know. So let's go to the next slide. So like I said, I've also been that parent. Homework being left to the last minute, and trying to get the child to produce the goods, trying to get them to focus and concentrate and always remember what they need to do, have the requirements, have all the stationery ready and at hand, plan accordingly, put the dates down so that you're not leaving things to the last minute, and. The list goes on. Especially with high school children, the comments or the complaints are they don't contribute in class. They're not productive. They're careless. They don't want to cooperate, or they're lazy. They talk. There isn't much engagement or cooperation. And again, there's a reason for it. Let's look at why. Why is it that they are unproductive? Because no child wants to be lazy. Nobody wants to be accused wants to be accused of being lazy. It's not in our nature. We're a species that produces. We do stuff. We're not just animals that eat all day, and we want to be seen as worthwhile, and we've got there's a reason for us to be on this earth. We have a purpose, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, as I said, this is the Q&A. So this is where your questions need to come forward so that we can then discuss and answer those questions. So why do you think, if your child has been accused of being unproductive, lazy, careless, unfocused, disengaged, a passive member of the class, what is it? Have you thought of what it could be? Why that's happening? If you're a parent and you're worrying about your child, you're worrying about the school report that you might have got in June. If you're a teacher and you're complaining about kids who are not not doing what they should be doing, this little Q&A is really for you. Because, like I said, the comments from a teacher onto a child's report can often be quite harming, and it often upsets a child because they feel it's not deserving. They don't mean to be like that. They just don't really know how to improve. So this is an opportunity for me to let's see what we can do. Education services is where you can come to as a parent. It should be your first port of call when you have a learning or a school-related concern. It should be your first port of call to come with your concern, and let's listen and let's try and solve it together. A little bit of housekeeping there. Thank you to our sponsors, Education Services. I'm only kidding. Okay, so like I said, this is a 30-minute teaser. This is not a full hour webinar. The talk that I do, in fact, this is a little bit of a rehearsal for me, because tomorrow night I am doing a full presentation for some parents at a school in Port Elizabeth. So this gives me an opportunity to kind of just run through what I want to say very briefly, and looking at why children are underperforming or underachieving or underproducing. So we're looking at a couple of reasons why this could be. These are the complaints that this is what we look at when we see a child at home really not getting involved, not wanting to do the work, struggling with concentration. They sit down and they're trying to do homework, and 5 minutes later they're up and they're doing something else. It's just too much. There's just too much expectations. There's too much to do. And rather than tackle it step by step, they procrastinate, or they hide it away, or they lose it, or it's better to just ostrich's head in the sand. If I don't have to address it, then I won't get the bad results. So it's almost this syndrome where I don't want to fail, so I'm not going to do it because I don't want to fail, or I don't want to seem to be not good enough. So to empower parents and to empower teachers to look at why this could be happening, and look for these clues, look for these reasons why we are sitting with children who are struggling to produce the goods or to perform at their best. And laziness, for me, it's a myth. I don't think that children mean to be lazy. They don't want to be accused of being lazy. They want to be seen to be engaged and cooperative and motivated. And we get driven by success as adults when we do something at work and we get praise for it and we get rewarded in some way. It means that we want to do it again. We want to have that same pattern of produce, achieve, reward, success. Produce, achieve, reward, success. And there's that spiral of productivity. And if we don't have that success, if we don't have that feeling of achievement, then we're not going to want to do it again, because why would you? These children are often labeled, and sometimes they're misdiagnosed. They might be seen to have ADHD or some other sort of condition where they can't concentrate. They struggle to be motivated to do any work, And often there's that labeling or that misdiagnosis that happens. And they're really, like I said, they don't want to be labeled, or they don't want to be lazy. So it's looking at the reasons why. Underachievers underperform, and we need to find out what could be doing, or what that could be caused by. So we talk about output failure. What happens is when the executive functions are poor, and these skills are not being they're not being sharpened, they're not being used, they're not being taught, and they're not being processed. They don't get used, so they become dysfunctional, or they don't work as well. And these are sort of some of the reasons why our children want to please the teacher, they want to please you, they want to get the results on the report, but for some or other reason they struggle. So there's that whole underperformance, and so the teachers get frustrated, and they would say things, like needs to do better, must pull up their socks, must prepare better, haven't put the work in. Those sort of comments come through, and it's quite unfair, because I think, again, there are reasons why, and the things that children might struggle with because of these 8 specific areas, or sort of executive function skills that they are struggling to execute the work. So it would be things like memory, their language, their written work, thinking of something different, something new, generating original ideas, their mental energy, or they're regulating their mental energy so that they don't run out of energy, planning, being able to plan ahead of time and schedule what they need to do, organization, being organized, knowing where their things are, and then obviously concentration. So concentration and memory obviously go hand in hand. If you're not concentrating, you're not going to remember. So you can imagine, if a child is battling with concentration in class for whatever reason, they're not going to have remembered what is being said, or what teacher is saying. If their language is poor, they're going to struggle to write their answers, to write what they know. And often they don't write enough. So when it's a 10-mark question, for example, they just want to write for 2 marks, because writing for them is such a struggle. So again, it's about teaching them how to tackle every single activity or task. And test-taking skills is something that we don't teach children at school. We expect children to just know how to go into a test or exam. We don't tell them about how to tackle an exam, how to look at the paper, how to plan how many minutes per question, how much to give, how much information to give for each question, how many marks, how many facts to get those marks. So these are all things that we expect our children to just know incidentally, but they actually don't. They don't acquire these skills just incidentally. Sorry, I did see a question there. Sorry, what was that? So true, and it's not funny. I'm one of them. Okay. Hi, Eugene. It's good to see you online. Eugene works at the horse unit. He's one of our volunteers at the horse unit. It's so nice to see you, Eugene. Yes, at 54, I still battle daily. You see, so it's something that our kids often they struggle with when they're little, and these things follow you into work as well. And when you have these certain struggles and you don't really know how to overcome them, you I suppose you think of yourself as, I'm just lazy, or I'm just a lost cop, or oh, my memory is terrible, or oh, I struggle to stay focused, or whatever it is, because we don't really know. We don't really use our executive functions in a way that they should be used in order for us to be able to produce the goods, I think is generally what this is all about. So, okay, so let's move on to looking at each one of those things in detail. So when we look at saying it could be a motor breakdown, so there are 8 areas that work together for your executive function skills. We spoke about memory, we spoke about language, we spoke about concentration, we spoke about mental energy, all of those. So if there's a motor breakdown, if a child struggles with their writing, if their muscles don't work well enough for them to be able to write quickly and efficiently and neatly, their writing will be slow because they're trying so hard to be neat. So again, there's going to be a speed issue with writing. They're going to need more time, or they might need to write and be given a laptop as well as having to write on paper. So there are ways and means of accommodating these particular struggles. So yes, there could be a problem with the child's writing. Yes, there could be a memory shortfall. They could struggle with short-term memory and long-term memory. So they're going to forget in one ear, out the other. There isn't a way of recording what the information was. The verbal production problem, where it's a language expressive problem. So if they have to write, whether the task is an oral, stand up and present an oral, they're going to struggle if their verbal production is weak, and they struggle with expressing themselves. Could be expressing themselves in writing or expressing themselves verbally. So just to be aware of that. It could also be a problem of thinking of new ideas, creating something that's original. Kids who struggle to think out of the box or to struggle to think of something new and creative, often they sit and they don't know how to start on a task because they haven't got those ideas coming. They struggle with being creative. So it's going to be a time issue if they are needing some prompts. They might need some prompts to get them going. And then also talking about the mental energy, where, as I mentioned before, they get tired before they've even started. Just mentioning the fact that they have to now go and study, they're feeling exhausted before they've even got going, and feeling lethargic. So lots of parents will say to me, what can I give my child to give them more energy? Isn't there a supplement, or what can they take? They're struggling with tiredness. So yes, there are supplements that you can take, but you can also look at their sleep. Are they getting enough sleep? Are they going to bed early enough? And if they are studying, maybe they need to move. Maybe they should have short breaks. Have study in sessions and have short breaks rather than go to your room and study. And there's no sort of chunking of the time. And then the social distractibility. So again, that is often the child who's very aware of what's going on around him or her, and it's generally the little girls, sorry to say, the social butterflies. They are easily distracted because they are so in tune with what else is going on in class. So what's this one saying? What's that one doing? They are the little busy bees, we call them. And so they struggle to get on with their work, and they often get called, or they get labeled with the concentration issues because they are the social butterflies, and they want to know what's going on all the time with other people, and they don't really keep themselves in check. That's the busy bee, the social distractibility. And then the organization and planning. So organization and planning, I've actually lumped in one, but it's actually two. So it's planning, and then it's organization. So it's knowing how to organize yourself so that you can plan and execute whatever it is that you need to do. So it's these kids who forget things at home or don't have the books that they need. They haven't remembered, or they don't know where things are. So their desks are a mess. Their school bags are a mess. Lunch is in there from 2 weeks ago. Sandwiches are moldy. It's really a matter of just being aware of your own stuff and having some kind of a track record of where your things are. I still can't read or spell. I'm 55 years old, but Animal has now just met. Well, you know what? Again, it's a way of overcoming these challenges and knowing how you can deal with them. And if they're part of your DNA, it's a way of trying to work around them and become smart in that way. So, yes, you are a social butterfly, Mr. Gino Fabry. You are one of those people that would struggle to do all of these things. So I hope you're listening very, very carefully, because this is really made for you in mind. Yeah. No, I'm only kidding. All right. So moving on. So really, as a parent, what you need to do, and I just need to watch the time as well, is as a parent, you need to ask, what does your child need in order to be more productive? What do they need? Can we eliminate the barriers or minimize the barriers so that they don't get labeled stupid or dumb or lazy? So it's really about being a Nancy Drew or a Sherlock Holmes and trying to understand, is it a memory issue? Is it a writing issue? Is it a language issue? Is it a planning issue? Is it an organization issue? Is it a concentration issue? What is it? What are those things? I'm going to go back to that slide over here. All right, because it could be any of those 8 bullets: memory, language, generating ideas, written work, regulating mental energy, planning, organization, and concentration. It could be any of those. It could be all of those. We don't know. So as I finish off, I wanted to say, and I did promise some freebies and some tips and strategies. So I have created an online checklist that you can do for your child, with your child, on behalf of your child, that basically delves into those 8 areas, deep dives into those 8 areas, and tries to identify which of those 8 areas is a problem. So these are little questions that you're going to ask, and you're going to tick the box, and it gives me, as the consultant, an idea of where your child might be falling. And then from getting that result, we then create a plan of action going forward to work on those specific areas. So if it is writing, or if it is memory, or if it is concentration, whatever comes out as a problematic area, we then work out a plan going forward. And if you really look at the support plan in place as a roadmap to success. So it's a way of taking your child where they are now, evaluating those problem areas, and then putting strategies and accommodations into place so that the school, the teacher, and you as the parent know exactly the way forward and what needs to happen to go forward to the next. Because each term is an assessment time frame. Every term, there are going to be tests and assessments. And then the next term, tests and assessments. So if you're watching and your child is in high school, term 3 is a test term. Term 4 is tests and exams. So they will give you a big exam at the end of the term. And that's where I think as parents we get anxious, because we want our children to be studying and to be doing so well and to be on the ball and not to forget things. And some of the things that you need, which are not negotiable in your child's life, would be a whiteboard that you can write on and wipe off, a monthly planner. I just wanted to show this. In fact, I'm going to now just unshare my screen because we are done here. So something like this that you can write on and write off for the month. You can see that's now August. I'm going to be moving on to September soon. But this is, I wouldn't be able to function without my monthly planner. And it gets written on at the beginning of the month for the month. And then a yearly planner, which again, you can get them at SPA, you can get them at CNA, wherever. It's a write-on, wipe-off year planner. And as soon as those tests dates get given by the school, those need to go on the year planner so that you as the mom and the child can see when the tests are there and when the projects are there. I know the teachers give those out at the beginning of the term because they've already set those dates. They need to send those dates through to their principals at the beginning of the term. So if they have sent those home, put those dates on the term on the yearly planner. And then from the yearly planner, they go onto the monthly schedule. And everybody then knows when things are due. And there's no lastminute.com because there's nothing worse on a Sunday night when you're just wanting to relax and ease yourself into the week, and now you're sitting trying to finish a project before Monday or study for a test before Monday or whatever it is. Vicky, what about emotional dysregulation? Is education or in education? I'm presuming it's in education. Emotional dysregulation. So I'm specifically thinking you're referring to being able to manage your emotions and know how to, I suppose, overreact. Kids tend to overreact when they're overwhelmed, and you have that where they lash out, and you have the lashing out or the aggression or the fighting and the biting and the external behaviors. And then you also have the internal behaviors where kids internalize their emotions, which also isn't good. So it's about identifying how they're feeling, what could have been causing that, and how to manage it, when to take a time out, when to know when to go and go for a walk or go to the bathroom or go and lie on your bed or whatever it is. So emotional dysregulation is definitely something that, again, we must be looking at, because kids, they watch us, and they watch how we manage ourselves. So it's monkey see, monkey do. We've got to always try and think that hopefully our kids are learning from us, and that we are doing as best we can. And yes, we will have our wobblies, and yes, we might have road rage in traffic or whatever it is, but those are isolated cases. We don't behave like that all the time, or hopefully we don't. So I've gone over time. I hope you have found this useful. Please, can I ask that you tell me or email me if there's anything more you would like to know. WhatsApp is also fine. Next month being September, I should be looking at my year planner. I do have a theme for September. Keep a lookout for those emails. If you're not getting an email from me, it's either philippafab@gmail.com or info@educationservices.co.za. We have a website, which is educationservices.co.za. Please have a look at that website. It really must be a resource that parents can find and use, because it's really all about helping you. Parenting is not easy, and it's a team sport. We're all in it. We've all learned from things and wouldn't do things again, and it's really about helping one another. And before you know it, your kids like mine are finishing school and navigating life at university, which also comes with different challenges. So embrace every stage that your children are at, because they go very quickly. Thank you so much. And hopefully we'll do this again in September. It'll be the last Wednesday of September. Keep a lookout for that one, and feel free to share this with someone who might benefit. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you a very good night. Bye-bye.